A minute for people to get notified that we're live. Welcome in. We are also multicasting on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube and want to join us on Whatnot, there is a link. You can click on a QR code and join us. Welcome in Modern Stitches Studio. Pox Bunny, Joe Pocus, My Funyun, Letitia is here. Kidsville, welcome in. All right, welcome everyone who's joining us. My name is Dana. This is Bert. We are Draz, and
you are not.
let me adjust this a little bit so we can both. That's not good.
Those of you that are joining us as part of your parole punishment, welcome.
Parole punishment. So are we muted? You should be able to hear us. You can hear. Okay. So maybe those, if you can't hear, go out and come back in. So it might be on your side. Oh, it was, but you can now. Okay. So welcome everybody. So today, today we're going to talk about attracting buyers and attracting people to your show and keeping them there and incentivizing them to buy. What things can you do? So that's our topic for today. And since we're here live in front of the camera, I can also answer questions, take questions. If you have a question, please put it in chat with a question mark so it shows up in bold, and we'll try to get to those as they come in. And please read the show notes. In the show notes, I have a lot of information that is all of the official links that you can go to with Whatnot to get help. So the Whatnot seller account, the YouTube account, that's the official Whatnot account, Whatnot help, seller help, which is just help.whatnot.com, the seller academy, and the blog and the meetups. All of those links are in the show notes.
Special documents in the Library of Congress.
Do you want to slide that over? Can it be slid over? Because you look like you're in like the background.
I am. I was naughty. I was sent to the corner.
So let me slide over just a little bit, and you can slide this way a little bit. Okay, that's better. All right. So you're not seeing the show notes. It's up in the corner. Are you on a computer? If you're on a computer, you may not see it, but it does show up on mobile devices. So let's see.
The little tab you click up here in the corner.
It's not showing. Oh yeah, look, it's not showing on your Android phone. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I have an Android phone here and it's not showing there either. So that's interesting. I'll have to report that because it should be showing. It is showing on the iPad. So you can see is it only showing on people with iPhone? If you can see it, tell me what version you're on. Because I'll have to report it if people aren't seeing the show notes. So it's not on iPhone?
Well, when you open it, nothing shows. It just says post or.
Well, no, they're not even seeing the little sticky note.
Oh.
Are you guys seeing it on Android? Is anyone on Android seeing it? Because I see it on my iPhone that I'm broadcasting from, and I'm seeing it on the iPad. Interesting. Let me click on here and oh, you know what? I didn't get them put in there. You know what? I didn't get them put in there. Hang on one second, everybody. I'm going to minimize everybody. Hold All right, I'm getting them put in. Sorry about that. I think I did this last time too. Somehow I forget to do that on these shows. Okay, now you should see some show notes. Tell me if they're there.
I see them.
Can everyone see them now? Okay, sorry about that, you guys.
Our first topic tonight: being prepared with technology.
Yeah, somehow I missed getting them in here. Okay, because this isn't one of my regular shows, and I almost always have them already in there for my regular shows, and I just somehow missed putting them in there. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're talking today about getting buyers in your show, keeping them there. Don't do what I just did because half of the people are going to leave while you're trying to get your show notes put in. All right, hand me that or the bolt.
Oh, the bolt.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
All right, so we prepared a list today of what we're going to talk about, some points. So if you want to take a screenshot of this and take notes under these topics. So this is tweaked for whatnot. We're going to talk about kind of some traditional marketing and sales strategies that are kind of the old tried and true things that people do to try and get people in the in their business and buying things, but tweaked for online whatnot sales. So the first topic on this list
I'm in
is
charge of number 4.
you're in charge of number 4. Who said that?
Carol Swift.
Bert's in charge. Yes, he is. All right. So the first topic that we're going to talk about is pricing. And you may be thinking, well, what does that mean? Um, what it means is something different for everyone. Oh, and I want to mention that for new sellers or sellers who are still trying to grow, these are kind of 4 different strategies that you can use to try and help, boost your audience, boost your sales, but you don't necessarily want to blend these. You kind of want to pick one or another to kind of focus on for a show and until you get a bigger audience and get more experience and can read your audience and read kind of know how to make things work in your shows better. So let's talk about pricing. So in a traditional sales approach, pricing has to do with trying to entice people with some kind of price strategy. So you might go to a brick and mortar store and they've got big signs up. They may have done print and media advertising that is promoting some big sale or some big, item that you can get for really cheap. That's a pricing strategy. So, how does that correlate over to what we do on Whatnot, Bert?
Well, I mean, a lot of people immediately when they think of a retailer that does pricing structure a lot, emphasize that heavily. Walmart comes to mind. The Kroger chain of grocery stores, whatever it's called in your particular location, they will use certain pricing structures. You also can think of um, like a lot of you are probably familiar with like the Goodwill bins. That's a pricing type strategy. You pay by the pound, where most stores don't do it that way. But that's their catch. That's their hook. That's how they get you to come in, because you can buy everything not necessarily by the item, but everything's priced the same by the pound. And so what we're trying to do is tell you that when you're setting up your show, or if you're a new seller, when you're setting up your idea of how you want to attack Whatnot, the direction you want to take. We're just going to give you some traditional approaches that sellers, retailers, that different businesses in out there in the retail market use to try and set up their pricing strategy. And the reason Dana said don't mix it, like I'll give you an example. When you go to McDonald's to buy a hamburger, they don't offer valet parking. That that doesn't match. It doesn't mix. It doesn't help. But if you go to a fancy restaurant, that they may offer valet parking, but they're also not going to sell you a hamburger for $2.49. You're going to pay $20 for that hamburger at that restaurant. So if they even sell a hamburger, that is. So I guess what we'll go through some of the concepts and ideas with each of these things that we're going to talk about, so that when you're setting up your business or deciding to set up a show, from start to finish, from the thumbnail to saying goodnight to your customers, you know what you need to do to get it set up properly so that it flows properly.
Okay. So, what are some ideas for pricing that you can use on Whatnot? And the big elephant in the room, before anyone even mentions it, is I see this all the time and I hear this all the time: dollar start, dollar start, dollar start. Is dollar start a good pricing strategy? It can be. It can be a pricing strategy that you can use. However, it is not the only pricing strategy, and it's not a very good pricing strategy for new sellers, because it is very difficult for you to get traction and be profitable when you're new, starting things at $1. The base amount of people that you need to be in a show for dollar starts to actually work is around, I'm going to say 30 to 50 people. And even that is risky. Okay. So dollar starts when you're new are not necessarily what you want to use as your pricing strategy. Rather than dollar starts, you can do things like have certain items on a sale, on a promotion. You can do quantity discounts. You can do flash sales. You can do things that show the value for what you're putting your pricing at. It's all in how you put it together. So, I'm on my iPhone and I can see the show notes. Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
got him
Utah
put in.
Chick.
I got him put in. So, so pricing is one of the big ways that you can, get people to come in your show. And if you are doing something special price wise, it is super important for that to be on your thumbnail and in your title, so that people see that and want to come in. It's just like the signs that stores put up, it's just like the advertising they do to get you in the store. You got to get people in your show. So think about what traditional businesses do to entice you to come, and you need to use those same kinds of strategies. So your homework, if any of you ever leave the house, no,
Okay.
Whatnot sellers, do we ever leave our house? No, we do. Um, so when you leave your house and go out or just see different kinds of advertising, I want you to watch for those things. I said that for a reason. Watch for those things and write them down. Write down the signs that you saw, and I want you to think about, how could I use that?
So
Same kind of idea.
so let's
Okay, especially if it catches your eye.
so truly materialistic writes, dear bird, why are you so no? My hard part is as a new seller, if I price an average price for similar fabric that is selling higher in other rooms and no one still bids. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about different strategies, and maybe you need to look at um look at how things are sold and about how things are set up, and then um maybe you need to change your approach. I'll give you an example. If I go buy a pair of black dress socks and I go to Kmart to buy it,
Which doesn't exist anymore, by the way.
there's some.
No, they're gone.
They're all gone.
They're all gone.
Then
He
I'm
he
not going
really
to get
never
dress
leaves the
socks.
house, you guys.
I'm not going to get any dress socks because Kmart doesn't exist.
Okay, how about Walmart?
Okay, I go to Walmart. If I go to Walmart, I have one expectation of pricing, but guess what? I can walk into a Dillard's or Lord and Taylor's or
Macy's, Lord and Taylor's
Macy's.
doesn't exist
Lord and
either.
Taylor's gone too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I
He
need to get
never
out
gets
more
out
often.
of the house, you guys.
Macy's. Okay, I walk into Macy's. I walk into one of those other big retailers. I can buy the exact same pair of socks and pay a higher price. In fact, I have a story about that. In my past life, I did a lot of deliveries, and I was delivering to the department store in town that had a restaurant on the top floor of the department store, and I was doing a produce delivery. And on the back of the on the out in the back room where they accepted the deliveries, they had a shipment of Levi jeans, and the employee was removing the suggested retail tag that Levi's had placed on the jeans, was ripping that off and placing a store tag that was higher than the suggested retail on those jeans. Same jeans as you would get at the Western store or get at J.C. Penney, but if you bought it at that store, you paid more for it.
Yeah.
So it's not what you're selling, it's how you approach selling it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, pricing. So I want you to really, really have some deep thinking about pricing strategies and watch what other people are doing who are being successful. Besides the dollar start, what are some other pricing strategies? And I know dollar starts are a big thing. I know that they cause excitement. Low starts in an auction setting are a big thing. But you can see some other successful sellers who their approach is completely different. And because they can add value, describe and do branding and give a perception of other factors, they don't have to do dollar starts and they can still get the same kind of effect. So, let's talk about the next topic. Um, so maybe pricing, because I think a lot of people focus on this one, and maybe this is not the strategy you should be focusing on for helping you to get people in your shows and keep them there. Maybe you should be focusing on these other three possible ways. All right, so let's talk about the second one on here. The second one is branding. And Bert mentioned um, something interesting. Who remembers the Oprah Winfrey show after she became kind of she started out kind of the regular trashy talk show, and then she kind of morphed into more of a feel good show, and she did a lot of things. And one of the things that she did on that show was she liked to read, and she would do book reviews. Do you remember that? So she would actually do book reviews, read people's books, and I think she would even give that book away to her audience when she did it. Um, and every author on the planet wanted Oprah Winfrey to read their book because they would go from just Joe Blow author with a book out there to a number one bestseller based on Oprah Winfrey reviewing their book and sharing it on her show. So, what does that mean? And I'll be honest with you, there were some books that she would talk about and review that were kind of like, really? I mean, they were good, but it wasn't like the latest epic novel of all time or anything.
Right.
So, because she had her opinions, her likes, her, whatever, but it was, Oprah Winfrey read it and promoted it, and suddenly that book was everything. Okay, so branding. A brand can actually be like a brand, like Levi's or Nike or whatever. And there are certain brands that have recognizable, logos and branding, and people want them just because of the brand, right? But there's more to branding than just, the label. So you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Well, some stores and institutions are all about branding. For example, when you think of retail, think of like Old Navy or think of Starbucks when it comes to a restaurant. Everything they do is to build that brand and to build that idea that's based around their basic concept. So in Whatnot, you have sellers who have developed that idea. And Dana often talk. So back up a couple years, we're watching a show, and some lady's selling just garbage. It's garbage to me. I'm like, this is crap. She's selling crap, and people are bidding up to 30, 40, $50 for a piece of garbage, in my opinion. And Dana's like, "Oh no. Oh no. She knows what she's doing and people love this antique stuff and blah 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 blah." And of course Dana was right because obviously the dollars that this lady was making, but she would take and so Dana used the example today of a rusty hinge. That lady could take a rusty hinge and clean it up a little bit and talk about it and tell you how it would make your shelf and your knickknack shelf or your shadow box complete and where somebody else would go, well, I got this stuff from a dirty old barn, so let's start it at $1. And guess what it sells for? $1, where she was getting $30 for it. That lady had been able to create that brand and do it. So let I'll have Dana tell you about one of our friends that we met at a we hosted a dinner for Whatnot a couple years ago, and what she did.
Oh, okay. So, so yeah, you can become your own brand, and you can also become, but that's more under niche.
Oh, was that underneath? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll save that story. But
Okay.
but I can
So,
tell you there are Whatnot sellers who have made themselves a brand, and people will pay a lot of money for
right. In
what
other
they
words,
sell.
doesn't really matter what the product brand is. They are the brand. And so then because they are the ones selling it, and because of how they are able to describe, promote, um, display, show, explain that product, suddenly the value and the perception of what people are willing to pay for that product is increased. So, branding doesn't necessarily have to be the exact brand of the product. It has to do with how you brand it, what you add to it, what you do with it, and
Now, certainly,
all of
if you
those
have
things.
brand names, use that to your advantage
Right.
in your thumbnails and promoting your show.
Right. So, let me give you an example of that from something that I've done. So, one of the things that a lot of us in fabric sell is scrap bags. A lot of people love scrap bags, right? because it's like you get a lot of little interesting pieces of fabric that you can use to quilt and craft with, right? So we'll get to that in just a second. Save that question that just popped up.
Yeah.
And if you have a comment you want us to read, please make sure and put a question mark on it so it shows up bold so we don't miss it. Okay, so scrap bags, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of getting the vibe that people were kind of getting sick of scrap bags. And it's like, okay, I've bought a bunch of scrap bags and I have too many scraps. What am I going to do with them? And I was just kind of brainstorming one day about scraps. How can I brand scraps to make them different? So I literally had this thought come to me, and I'm like, if you make them look different. They're still scraps, but you make them look different, they're going to sell. And so I literally took a pile of scraps and I made flowers. Has anyone been in my show where I showed my scrap flowers? Raise your hand. I was going to make one for today, and I
Oh.
and I didn't get it made, but I have an example of something else that I made. So, scraps. Okay, what does this look like? Tell me what this looks like.
Candy.
Okay, it looks like pieces of candy, right? And it's in a cute little cut glass dish. All right. These are 6 inch, or no, 5 inch squares of fabric. This is a set of 5 inch squares of fabric made to look like candy. This took me about 10 minutes to make. I took 5 inch squares. It was the remnants of a charm pack. Okay, remnants of a charm pack. So there was like a charm pack that, someone had used like 20 of them, and this was what was left. And I still have a few pieces of it that I'm going to put in here.
So truly materialistic says I made those for a quilt.
Yeah, it's so cute, right? And people will buy these. And what the idea is you get this cute little dish. So you go out to the thrift store, you buy some cute little dishes, you make these, and you can sell them. It's a scrap bundle, but it's cute. You put it in your sewing room on your shelf. And then one day you're going to be like, I really need a piece of fabric that has yellow and orange in it. And voila, you unwrap this and you've got your little square, you iron it and you use it. Okay. Or maybe it never gets used, but guess what? Instead of being in a big, fat, ugly bag of scraps that are all wrinkly and gross, you have a really cute candy dish.
Or it's a cute gift for a quilting friend.
Right. So, branding. I branded this by taking a scrap bag and turning it into something else that's much more marketable and cute. And I did the same thing with the flowers, and I'm sorry I didn't get one made today, but I take scraps and I make flowers, and nothing's sewn. It's all just folded and rolled and tied, and it goes in some kind of cute container. If you've been in my shows and seen them, they're really cute and they sell really well. People love them because they get a cute container, they get the scraps, and it can go in your sewing room. And then when you need them, there you go. You have some cute scraps. So,
and they're delicious.
That's an idea of branding. You take something ordinary and you make it extraordinary. You add your creativity, your idea, your thing to that. Okay, let's talk really quick um about the question that came up about handmade. So,
well, we had a question before that. Do you
oh,
want to wait for that one?
so what was the other one before that?
Selling fabric for the same price. She can't sell scrap.
Oh, okay. So, yes. So you'll be in someone's show and you'll see a piece of fabric and you're like, I have that same fabric. And in her show, it's sold for, $13 a yard and I can't even get anyone to buy it. And sometimes that will happen. And because you don't have the right person in the room, just simply there's not someone in your show that wants that particular piece. So you save it and do it later. And or you may even do it later in the show. So here's the thing. If no one buys it, put it in sight next to you have your pile in sight. And here's a tip for all of you who sell fabric. I love all of you. I love how you do your shows. I love that you can see just a little bit. Back up just a little bit so that people can see more of what you have. Because if you're focused so close in on that fabric that they can't see anything else around but that one piece, they're going to leave because that's all they see and they don't want that one piece and they want to see some other stuff. Get some other stuff in the periphery that people can see so they can have an idea of what's coming up, what's on the side, and they will start asking you for that piece and that piece and that piece. That one that didn't sell 10 minutes ago will sell a little while later because someone will come in and ask for it. And if someone asks for it, someone else wants it too, because the minute someone asks for it, then it's like, oh, she wants that. Oh, I want that too. And oh, so do I. Okay. Back up a little bit. Make a little bit more room in your sales display so that people can see a little bit more that can entice them into your shows. If you're in front of the camera, make sure you've got stuff behind you. If you're, doing everything in front of you, show more. So it's
So,
kind of the concept if you go into a store, if
excuse
you
me.
walk into a store and there's one thing on the shelf, are you going to stay? No, they have nothing. Same with your auction tab and your buy it now tab. You go into the auction, they have one thing in the auction, a lot of sellers do, but what's in your buy it now? And what can they see around you?
And that's what I would say
Okay.
to her about. Here's her follow-up question.
Okay, I'm always worried to sell my cave because I'm under contract to sell at MSRP.
Put it in your buy it
So
now.
put it in your buy it now at MSRP. And put it a little bit above MSRP and flash sell it at MSRP. There you go. And CAFE is kind of a tough sell on Whatnot right now because it's not the trend. How many of you can tell me that boutiques and CAFE right now are just not trending?
And be patient.
Yeah, it
Be,
will
be
come back
patient.
around.
Come back around, put it in a bin, and wait and bring it out later.
Yeah,
And then you'll be sitting in a show, and somebody will say, "Do you have any CAFE?"
yeah,
And
exactly.
the minute somebody wants it, then that fear of missing out, that FOMO kicks in with other buyers, and then you start getting
Right.
stuff bid up.
Yep. Yep. And if you have other places that you sell where it is trending, then maybe you need to keep it for those other places. You need to pay attention to what's trending on Whatnot. Because, and just because it's valuable somewhere doesn't mean it's necessarily what people are wanting here and now. So you've got to stay focused on what people here and now want, so do your sourcing with that in mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't do my Chippendale dancing here because it's just not wanted.
You don't get tips.
Yeah, because I go to the nightclub for that.
All right. Okay. So, anything
Okay.
else on branding? Oh, we need
No,
another.
you're going to answer the handmade.
Oh, the
Branding
handmade. Okay. Branding handmade. Okay. So, branding handmade. First of all, I will say you need to go out and find the other sellers who are having success in handmade and kind of get a vibe for what they're doing. With handmade, you need a niche. Oh, thank you for the tip, Bougie. That was very sweet of you. Appreciate that. So, there are some really amazing handmade sellers on Whatnot, but they are all in very niche categories and they have made it their brand, talking about branding. So, it's really hard to have kind of a I just want to make stuff. I don't want to. him to be tip. Oh,
Here, I'll pretend you put it in the elastic.
oh my gosh. This is a family show. If you guys have been on our shows, you know we are very milk toast about we're not weirdos. Okay, well, we are
Well,
weirdos, but we're not crass. Okay. All right. So, they've made it their brand. It's all about some niche, really cool thing that they do that people have just been drawn to. So you've got to find your niche with handmade. Um, and the other platforms out there that are falling apart with handmade, if you look at the people that are still having success on those other platforms, it's because they did that. They made a niche. They have an audience. You've got to find what it is. You've got to make your brand.
and let's be deadly honest here. Whatnot is not the only platform to sell on. It's not the only way that you can sell handmade. You've got to find what works for you.
Right.
For some people, it's still the flea market, or it's the Christmas sale, barn sales, and stuff like that, and they gear up their whole year for that, and that's where they find their success. So we've had our fingers in, or I should say, Dana mostly has had her fingers in all kinds of different sales. We've tried other platforms. We've found our most success and whatnot, but that doesn't mean that other people don't find more success elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it do what's best for you.
Right.
But
Yeah, but if you want to find success on Whatnot, you've got to find a niche. You got to get to where, people are coming because of something unique and interesting and really cool that you're doing, and you're putting your spin on it. Even if it's similar to what someone else is doing, you're putting your stamp on it. Does that
and
make sense?
and this
Lovely Pinto's in the house.
and
How
this
are you?
month, I'll just say I'm expecting some huge things to happen soon. So stay active on Whatnot, because they're spending some serious bucks to promote Whatnot.
Yeah.
Serious bucks.
Yeah.
That whole Mr. Beast thing, even though I'm not a huge Mr. Beast fan, I'm kind of, his style is kind of not my style. That's okay. I don't care. But there are people that, Mr. Beast speaks and they listen. I mean, he's started Candy Line, he's started this and that, and he gets millions and millions of views. I mean, he had 500,000 people in his show.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So RJR Customs is saying, I feel like my niche would be car air fresheners. I'm just having problem getting people in my lives. So um think, okay, so car air freshener. What can you do? What could you sell? What could you source? What category? I'm helping you brainstorm. Could you do some sales in that are related or similar that would bring some people in, and then you introduce those slowly as so? Or is that even, and I don't know, because I don't know, is that even an item that there's a big enough audience for? I don't know. So you've got to really explore that, excuse me, and see if there's some way you can, you know, a lot of sellers have had to start somewhere and then shift to what they really find success in and want to do instead, because whatever they started out with doesn't always work.
so here's what I immediately thought of. What if you could do your show from inside of a custom car? A Maserati, a Rolls Royce. I mean, and I'm not saying that this is realistic for you, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. If you were selling your air fresheners from inside of some kind of a car like that,
And
and
maybe every show it's a different car.
yeah, I mean, and
Maybe
then
you go
and
to
then you
car shows.
and
I
then
don't know.
you throw them off by doing a rickshaw one month, or 1 week or something like
I
that.
don't know.
Just yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, something like that. Maybe you do it from a car dealership or something like
Well,
that.
look what they just said. I work at a car dealership, so it might not be as hard to obtain. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's adding some interest there. You could advertise right on your thing. Have you ever seen the inside of whatever? And come look, come see. And maybe you work in hand with the dealership because it helps them out too a little bit. I don't know. Okay. Truly materialistic. Is it worth promoting paying for promotion? Here's what I always say about that. You have to do your research. And I would say in most cases, if you're in a more niche category, the answer is no. If you're in a really crowded category, sometimes, but you have to really, you kind of have to honestly try it and then look at the analytics and see if it made any difference. And I will say in niche categories, it rarely brings buyers. You're going to get a few people coming in because of the promotion, but they rarely stay and buy because, niche categories, people come because they want that type of category. More broad categories, it could make a difference. I know there are some bigger sellers who they always pay to promote
And
because it
Bougie
does
Bee
make a
said it
difference.
works for them.
Okay, so Bougie saying it does work for them. So my experience has it made no difference for me, but I really haven't done it for a long, long, long time. So, yeah. So if you do pay to promote, pay really strict attention to have someone watching and go look at the analytics afterwards and really break them down and make sure it made sense before you pay to do it again. Does that make sense? Okay. All right,
I will say about. Did you talk about niche yet?
that's what I'm going to move to right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Okay. So, speaking of, the next thing on here is exactly that. Niche, having a specialty. Okay. Um there are so many categories where, and I'll pick on clothing, women's contemporary. How many shows at any given time are in a women's contemporary category? I mean, sometimes hundreds are live or more, right? I don't even know. It's like so crowded, right? So how can someone stand out in that category these days? I don't even know. I wouldn't want to try it, to be honest. But I do have a person who came on Whatnot about a year and a half ago, and she came to our local meetup, and she was brand new at the time.
She was so nervous,
She was very nervous.
but fun and energetic.
Yeah, fun, energetic. And she was going to do clothing. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do that category? It's so crowded. I was kind of honestly trying to talk her out of it. But she was very focused and she listened to everything I said about how to be successful on Whatnot. I mean, she took it to the bank and just really buckled down and did all the things you need to do to be successful. And she found a niche. She found a niche. And she was premier within 6 months of when we met with her. She was a premier seller and is still is. And she found a niche category. She really did her homework and found the trends, found what people want. And she's amazing. And she runs a fun show and she does all the other things right too. She hits all the points of my things that you're supposed to do right. So, I mean, it's an amazing story. It's super exciting that she was able to do that. So you have to have your own niche. What's your niche? I don't know. Figure it out because there's got to be a reason that people want to come to your show instead of someone else's. Figure out what that is. What are you going to make your specialty, your niche? And not everybody is going to love your specialty or your niche. That's the other thing that's important to know. Don't get your panties in a wad if there's people who just never come to your show.
Unless your niche is wadded panties.
Okay, well, yeah, there's that.
Oh.
Because everybody has different, vibes. Everybody's different. Yeah, different shows for different viewers. Everybody has the time of day they can come on. Everybody has the type of person they relate to. Everybody has, the type of tolerance for different voices or different ways of speaking, or, not everybody can stand to be in shows where people swear a lot. Um, some people love that because that's kind of their vibe. Some people, can't stand when someone has a weird accent, and other people love it. I don't know. There's all different kinds. So don't get upset if you're in someone else's show and you're like, wow, that person never comes to my show ever. Everybody has different vibes.
And here's
So,
the thing that I would say about niche or specialty. You have to know that niche and know that specialty.
yes.
If you don't, the you're going to lose viewers. Um,
So, yeah,
remember
know what you're selling.
remember the history of Whatnot. Whatnot started out with things like collectible coins and sports cards and things like that. We live in a city that doesn't even have a coin shop or a place that you can buy sports cards. And so, I mean, we're talking, we're if you're niche, that's niche. I mean, I've lived in cities of a million that might have two or three of those places in the whole city, and that's how niche it is. And yet on Whatnot, that's still. Have you guys watched some of these coin shows? I mean, it's like they're selling stuff that people can't live without, and it just boom, 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 boom. But those coin sellers, oh my gosh, do they know their stuff? They know everything about it. So know your
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. So it's really important to know, and if you don't feel like you know your stuff, go find it out. Because, I mean, there's no excuse anymore for why you can't know your product well. You can look things up, you can read. I mean, it's all out there. It's all out there. So do your research, know what you're talking about so that people feel like you are, and I mean, I know there's people who sell in categories like storage units and estate sales, and you can't necessarily know everything about everything you sell in those categories, but you can know, kind of have an idea of people do or don't want these kinds of things, and, because you have done enough of those sales that it's like, okay, people don't want, old Tupperware dishes or something, but they do want Pyrex, or they do, so you kind of have an idea in that category of what sells and what doesn't sell, and what to show and how to be excited about different types of things. Let's see. Stay Home to Shop says, I heard about this video platform called YouTube with lots of good explainer videos. Exactly. So, I mean, YouTube, Google, it's all out there. Do your research. Do your research. Okay. So find your niche, find your specialty. This is all about, you know, doing what it takes to make people want to be there. And if you sound like you know what you're talking about, and well, here's the other thing, if you know your product well, you're going to be able to go beyond just saying, this is a roll of tape. You're going to go be able to say, this tape is this ply and has this strength, and I just saw some tape sitting on my table, so that's what I picked. And this tape sticks this well, and is going to be able to last for this long, and you're going to be able to expound on your product and show the value, show, like we were talking about in, branding. You're going to be able to brand that better because you're going to be able to show it. And that's one of the things I talk a lot about too in my seller chats is, you can take an ordinary item and make it extraordinary, like the example of the rusty hinge. We have vintage sellers on here that are like mind blowing to me because they can take old, crusty, rusty, cool things and stick it in, something else. I don't even know because I'm not talented in this way, but they can take little sprigs of flowers and a cloche and put it with some music sheets or a card or something, and suddenly everyone's like, wow, that's so cool, I need that on my shelf, right? They can do that, and they add value. They take that ordinary set of items and make it extraordinary. What
Right.
can you do to take your ordinary items and make them extraordinary so people want them? I don't know. Brainstorm it, figure it out. Um, so I've given you some ideas, go with it, run with it. Okay, so the next thing on the list is entertainment. And then underneath that, we put experience. What does experience have to do with entertainment?
Well, it's not. It's the experience.
Right.
It's the experience. Nobody does experience or entertainment better than, say, Disneyland.
Right. It's all
It's
about
all about,
the
yeah. It's
experience.
all about getting you to buy churros at the churro cart at Disneyland.
Right.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I agree with that statement that Queenie just said. God gave everybody something special. So you all have talents, unique abilities. Everybody is unique. And you can find the ways that you can make the things that you do extraordinary. Someone
Excuse
said
me.
I was a good singer. I almost died. Hey, maybe you are, and maybe you should explore that a little more vintage. I'm curious now. Okay, so entertainment means a lot of different things, and it has to do with your experience. And we wrote down a couple of examples in the retail world, in the brick and mortar world, that kind of can get the juices flowing and thinking here. So, um, Cracker Barrel is one that Bert wrote down. And I'm like, I looked at him like, what does that have to do with entertainment? And he's like, are you kidding? When you walk into Cracker Barrel and you're waiting for your table, how are you entertained? I mean, it's like the cutest little shop with every cute little thing that you want it all, right? You're entertained with all these cute little things
And
that
the
they have
rocking
in their shop
chairs
and
and
the
the
cute rocking chairs and the whole environment, the whole vibe, the experience of being in there, right?
right.
So, and maybe they need to up their food quality a little bit, in my opinion, but
Mm,
that's a different story.
and that's yeah, maybe is not the right word.
Okay. So, Stacy says, I like that you both have great voices. Oh, thank you. Bert's is much better than mine. I listen to myself and I'm always like, I sound squeaky, but
Right.
maybe it's not
But
too.
there's even a better example of retail entertainment.
Yes.
Tell them the next.
All right, the next one is Bass Pro Shop and or Dick's Sporting Goods. Those kind of stores.
Is anybody not familiar with what it's like to shop at a Bass Pro Shop?
I mean, it's all about the experience. You go in there, they have these huge displays. You wander forever, you can try things out. Um,
Dana put IKEA.
and I put IKEA on here. That's more of a chick store, but it's the same concept, right? You literally can get lost in there, and
Yeah,
it's like you
Cabela's.
you can go in there and they have all the little setups of all the different rooms, and you can be like open the drawers and they have all the stuff in there, and you're like, this is like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Cabela's is another one that's like that. So they're creating this experience that you can go in there and just have this whole,
Yeah, Shields has a Ferris wheel.
yep. Exactly. Shields. So there's lots of examples like that. So they've almost made it like retail Disneyland, right? Because you can just go in there and just get lost in this whole experience of being in
Yeah.
their stores. So
They follow you all around the eye.
how does that cross over into what we can do in Whatnot? We need to create a verbal or an audio and visual experience
Yeah,
for
audio.
our people. So, do what you have to do to try and create an experience when people come into your shows. And I know maybe when you're new, it's hard to do that right from the get-go because you don't have the room, you don't know exactly how it's going to work and all of that, but you can develop that and, create that. Let me give you so in the fabric world, there's quite a few sellers who have a really nice little setup that's very inviting when you come into their shows. And that's why that's another reason I want to say back up a little bit so that people can see a little bit more. It's going to help you be more successful because I know you like to show the fabric up close. And I do think that's important too because people like to see the details of the fabric, but back up a little bit and create a more of an inviting enticing environment so that they can kind of get the vibe. I want people to back up. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Is that just me? What do you guys think? I just feel like, because like, okay, let me give you a couple of examples. When you go into C White and AZ, because who's been in her shows? It's an experience. It's just, and she has a beautiful voice and it's so relaxing. She doesn't do a ton of shows, but if you've been into one of her shows, you'll know what I mean. And she has it all set up nice and she has cute little decorations and she's in the show.
She's here.
Her shows are so inviting because she creates an experience. And the sellers who create an experience, there's quite a few other sellers that do that same thing. They have a nice little setup and they change out little things and you can have an experience. So I'm talking about Christine, who's just above your comment. Lisa's so crazy. So C White and AZ.
Right, but
She's
don't.
laughing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but don't. But we want you to be thinking very broadly. Like when we first started selling, we were selling. We well, not our very first show, but when we first started really getting into the groove of thing, we were selling upholstery fabric that we got from a big storage unit, and we were selling it by the box load, and we did our shows from our garage standing behind a table with the ugly garage door and stuff behind us.
When I tried to decorate it up, I would hang fabric, and that actually worked because I would hang up pieces of fabric across how your garage door has the little ridges in it. I could hang fabric from there, and anyway, and people would want the fabric that was hanging up. But
Right.
anyway,
But to make the it fit the
it fit the
mood
mood because we
of
were
what we were trying to
selling
do, because we were trying to sell, we were trying to get
box.
people to buy a lot of fabric for a little bit of money, or what we felt like was a little bit of money. And man, we for the first 6 months or something like that, we pumped a lot of fabric out.
Yeah,
If you ask some of our old sellers, they probably have rooms of
yeah.
fabric.
Lisa says, "I remember when you moved inside; it was a big deal." Yeah,
Yeah, and our shows have changed to be more in line with the way we're selling fabric now.
yeah.
And so, think about what it looks like. What experience are you trying to give your customers? Now, if pricing, dollar starts is your thing, then aim the camera at the table and just go. Boom, dollar start. Go,
Right,
go,
because
go,
that's
go.
your
That's
strategy.
the experience. You're selling cheap, fast. Boom, let's go, let's go, let's go. You don't have to put a lot into it. but then again, that's very, very hard to get started using that strategy.
Right.
So
Yeah. So again, let me hold this up. We're talking about different strategies you can try to increase your visibility, increase the people coming into your shows, increase, the people wanting to stay. Use one of these strategies. Pick what you think is going to work for you, and don't really blend them until you feel like you've arrived, if that's the right way to say it. Because pick one, because if you mix it up too much, your shows are confusing and they don't make sense.
okay, and
Is that
since we're
fair
talking
to
about
say?
since we're talking about attracting customers, we want to talk about something that's unique about Whatnot and unique about getting people into your room. And it has to do with the experience. And that's setting up shows with the expectation that you're not going to sell very much. And we'll explain what we mean by that.
Let's see. Did we miss some? Let's see.
I
My
might, but can
camera will
we'll
take
take
two
two
of
of me.
me. Oh,
She's responded to her.
okay. All right.
So
Just want
go
to make
take
sure.
it, Dana.
What am I talking about?
About setting up shows, your expectation isn't that you're going to sell a lot. It's that you're going to invite people into your show because there's a unique aspect about Whatnot that you have to understand about the people buying in shows, particularly small sellers that have very few people in the show.
I don't know what I can't read
What?
your mind. You're going to have to expound on what you're trying to get me to say.
We talked about this. Okay, so for example, I'll give her the I'll let
Okay.
it boxy baskets.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So,
Little Pinto and the Stamps, Lovely Pinto and the Stamps and stuff like that. Those kind of shows where you're demonstrating something,
oh,
your
yeah, 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 yeah.
expectation and the reason because why the
Okay, so what he's getting at is you need to also sometimes do shows that are a non-threatening environment. What does that mean? It means you're doing something to get people to come in and get to know you, and and be able to just spend time with you.
we got raided.
Oh, who rated us? Thank you for the
Little Red.
raid, Little Red. Thank you so much
Thank you, Little
for the raid. And I don't even see Little Red. Oh, there they are, Little Red.
Yeah,
So let me
Vintage Chick calls it a tutorial.
so here we go. So yes, tutorials. So can everybody give Little Red a follow? Thank you so much. And on that note, let's run one of my giveaways. So what do I give away in these shows? I give away my handmade bookmarks. So I made two for today. They're made with Whatnot logo fabric. And here's one of them. And I put this really cool woven fabric scrap on the back. I think I got this from Lovely Pinto. And so that is the giveaway running. One of these cute corner bookmarks. And thank you so much for the raid. Okay, so yes, tutorials, or that's probably the best word for it. But there's other types of things you could do too besides a tutorial. Just some kind of show where you're not focusing on selling, rather you're focusing on something I'm doing that I'm sharing with you, that I have a talent for, that I, want to do, to share with you. And do those kind of shows, and you'll be interested to know, or it'll be interesting for you to see how many people will come in and out of those kind of shows, even though they may or may not stay depending on their interest level, but they will come. Demos, yeah, demo shows do really well. Tutorials, demos, I don't know what other kinds of things, talk shows, um, maybe you could call it some kind of inspirational moments. I know people have done things where they do, religious stuff, Bible readings, I don't know, whatever your vibe is, do them. And it just really helps people get to know you and gives them a non-threatening way to come in and get to know you, and you'll be interested to then see if it correlates to some of those people coming also into your regular shows more often. um I think it's a great thing to do. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
creates
right.
a different type of experience and an opportunity for you to kind of, be more relaxed and share with people and create. And those of you doing handmade, that's another thing with handmade. Don't necessarily share your deep dark secrets of what you make, but show something that other people could make, and then you sell a kit or you sell the supplies that they can use to make that themselves, because then
Oh yeah.
then it
Stay
gives
home, a
admin.
5 minute bathroom makeover.
There you go.
See,
Okay.
there's a dynamic that happens with Whatnot where, particularly when you have only a few people in your show, say between 5 to 30 people, there are buyers who will come in and out real quick because they don't want to feel obligated to buy something.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And so they do one or two things. Remember, entertainment, uh, m- I would say most people on Whatnot are not just here to buy, they're also here to be entertained,
Hmm.
or to pass time or whatever. And they don't want to feel obligated to buy. So they'll either go hang out in the shows with 400 people, and they might even they may not even have like a pet, but maybe they're selling pet food or something. But, they'll hang out there because they're not going to get recognized. People aren't going to see them or know them, or they won't feel obligated to buy something. So,
And you want those people in your shows too, because don't get into a mode of thinking that everyone in your show needs to be a buyer. You want everybody in your shows, not just buyers, because the more people you have in your show, then the algorithms favor you, and then you will get more buyers in your show. And you never know when someone's going to see something they can't live without. So, you want everybody in your show. Make sure you're creating an environment where they feel safe to be there, even if they can't buy anything. So add some value to the non-shoppers as well, to the window shoppers, in addition to the people who can actually buy. So make sure that yes, people just chatting in the show, it makes it more fun. Make sure you're doing things that people will want to be there. So one of the shows that we've been doing lately, we did on Monday, is our show that is sewing and quilting trivia. Our winner is about to draw, so let me watch that. Um,
and
it
the
is
winner
going
is
to
Bert AZ.
Crafting with Chris wins the Whatnot logo bookmark. Congrats.
Congrats,
That's coming to
Chris.
you. Um, and it's just a fun way. I mean, I advertise it in my on my thumbnail, and throughout the show we just ask all kinds of quilting and sewing trivia, and people get to feel important when they answer the questions in chat. Anyone there, is that fun? Did you find it fun? The feedback I've gotten is that they enjoy that. They think it's fun. It's a way for them to share comments about, the quilting and sewing trivia that we ask, and people feel important when they are able to answer correctly or whatever.
And
So,
some of you may have heard this too in the hand making thing. Do a show and then sell kits.
yeah, I just said that a minute ago.
And you probably heard that just a minute ago.
Yeah, so sell,
Sorry, I
demonstrate,
was reading
show
the
the
note.
kits. Yeah. Yeah, the trivia games are fun. So it just makes it something, to go along with the show that you're doing. Um, let's see. Oh, another show that we've done in the past is we did some shows, and we haven't done one of these in a while, but we would do a show that we called 60 and 60. And what that was we would try to sell 60 items in 60 minutes. And if we achieved that goal, then we would do a really nice giveaway. And it's a really fast way to move through. And, you do a lower start, you pick items that you can sell for a little bit less, and, kind of make them all the same weight or similar. and or stack them so that you can change weight or whatever. But it was a lot of fun. People love those shows, and it was like a thing to keep them in the show. It's like, can we get 60 sold in 60 minutes? And it's been a while since we did that, but and since then I've done other shows where I can sell a heck of a lot more than 60 and 60, but this was kind of back before everyone started going to 5 second sudden death. But anyway, it's just like a, can they do it? Is it going to work? What is the anticipation that you can create in the show doing something fun like that? So yeah, you're the hook. You're exercising your eyes and your hand muscles. Yes. So, um, those that's another idea. Um, let's see, what else were we going to talk about? Oh, so on my cover, on my thumbnail, and this is one of the things that I share regularly. So if you have seen it before, bear with me. If you haven't, please make sure you get a copy, a screenshot of it. It's prettier on the screen than my little black and white picture of it. But my 5 F's, the 5 F's of attracting buyers. Okay. Please take a screenshot of this. It's just another thing that you can read through and really do some deep thinking about, what can I change? What can I do differently to, have my shows be more successful and better attended and have people stick around? So, the number one thing is fun, and it goes along with all these things that we've been talking about. What can you do to make your shows more fun so that people want to be there and stay there? The next one is fast pace. And fast pace doesn't mean it has to be 5 seconds sudden death. Fast pace means it needs to be going at enough of a clip that people aren't getting bored and leaving. People nowadays have the attention span of a gnat, and everyone is doing squirrel every 5 seconds. I mean, it's just reality because we've been trained with the way social media works and with the way technology works. It's just like we have distractions everywhere. And so, if you aren't keeping a fast enough pace in your show to keep people in there, they're going to leave. So, it's got to be a regular pace, go, go, go. And then the third thing is findings. You've got to have what people want to buy and see. At the very least, you've got to have what they want to see, even if they can't buy. They still need to be entertained and want to be in your shows. And like I said, you want them there whether they can buy or not. So you've got to have what people want to see. You need to be on top of trends. And I don't mean you have to be the trendiest and know every little intricacy, but you've got to pay attention to what people are wanting to buy. And then fulfillment, you've got to be able to ship quickly and provide good customer service. And that includes getting it shipped fast. It includes how you package it. It includes if someone has a problem with something, you respond quickly and you resolve it appropriately. So if you can't do fulfillment well, these other three things don't matter. That's the truth. You could have the funnest shows, fastest pace, and have great stuff, but if you can't get it shipped out to people and do a nice way of packaging it and responding, you're gone sooner than anything. All right. And then the last one on here is frequency. And this is huge. All of these other things we're talking about, if you're not here on a pretty regular basis, it's going to be hard for you to grow on the app. And I'm not saying that you have to show up every day, because everybody has a different goal. Everybody has different reasons for being here. Some people just want to sell so that they can sell enough to support their buying habits. Some people are literally here for social reasons, and that's okay. But you've got to be here enough so that people will see you regularly enough and want to keep coming. If you're only here, you know, every 3 months or, but the other part of frequency is not just you doing shows, it's you being on the app and interacting with other people too. You're seen when you mod for someone, you're seen when you mention, when you say things in chat, when you make comments, you're seen when you buy something, you're seen just by being in other people's shows and doing other things. So frequency includes not just doing shows, but also the other things, networking and being part of the community. Um, and there's a couple of interviews that you need to watch. One of them is the interview that Kenny did on the Whatnot Seller account with, where's the iPad?
Oh, hang on 1 second. I got to get to the page.
That Kenny did with the CEO. It was about 3 weeks ago, I want to say. And if you go to YouTube and go to the Whatnot Seller, it's the Whatnot app, is what it's a ampersand Whatnot app is the YouTube account for Whatnot. So if you go into YouTube and type in Whatnot app with the ampersand, and you'll see why you need to do that. Because when you type in Whatnot, there's tons of Whatnot content out there, but you're looking for this account, this official Whatnot account. And they post here all of the content videos from that Whatnot Seller account. And here is the one that is with the CEO, and his name is Grant. So the interview that Kenny did with Grant is the one that I'm wanting you to watch. His original, someone asked the question of, what was your vision for this product? What were you thinking? What did you want it to be? And what did he say? He said, we wanted a place where people could come and be social, have a social media experience with other people at the same time that they were buying and selling. And their original products were, Funko Pops, trading cards, Pokemon cards, coin, the core original products and whatnot. And so that was part of their original intent for this platform, was social media, interacting with other people. If you're here as a seller and you don't want to be part of that aspect of it, you're going to have a really difficult time growing on this platform, because it is huge. There's a huge amount of this selling experience that has to do with being part of the community. Harper just did something part of community. She raided us. Thank you so much for the raid, Harper. And that's my granddaughter's name. So I love that name. Is it freezing? Are we pixelating? So everybody give Harper a follow. So let me what do you keep doing on here?
I was just trying to go back to the.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you did. You did something weird on here. Okay. Oh, you're on YouTube. Okay. I was like, what are you doing? All right. So let's give Harper yeah, he pulled up our live on YouTube, and I'm like, what are you doing? All right, so here's Harper, who is Teresa, and everyone give Teresa a follow. And she has a show on the 15th in Vintage Decor. Love your thumbnails. Very cute. So everyone give Teresa a follow and bookmark that show that is on the 15th. Thank you so much for the raid. All right, let's do our second giveaway. So handmade Whatnot bookmark. Let me get this giveaway running. So everyone get in for this, and it's one of these cute corner bookmarks that you can put on the corner of your page in your book. to hold your spot. It also can be doubled as a coaster, I think, because it's fabric. So, and it does have a little bit of interfacing in there. So, anyway, cute bookmark, whatnot logoed, up for grabs. Everybody getting that giveaway.
So we do have a question while that giveaway's running. How do people make the thumbnails?
So the thumbnails are pretty much AI now. So you can use Canva. A few little bumps uses Chat GPT. What else do you guys use? Anyone else use something else? So Canva, Chat GPT. There's a bunch of other, software out. Gemini. Yeah, there's some good ones out there. I use Canva.
Giveaway running.
You can use personal photos. Um, Here's my tip about personal photos, though. If you use a personal photo, make sure it makes sense with what you're selling. So don't put anything in your photo, your thumbnail photo, that is not what you're selling, because you're missing out on the opportunity to use your thumbnail to help market your show. So I know a lot of people just put a picture of their dog or their cat, but what does that have to do with what you're selling? Right? So your thumbnail really should be about what you are selling. So if you are selling vintage stuff, have a nice, and you want to use your photo, have a nice shelf with all the stuff you're going to sell in your show that day, but make sure it's available in your show. So don't take a picture that you just keep using on thumbnails and put it on all of them, and then they come into your show and they wanted that hen on a nest and you sold it 12 shows ago. So make sure your thumbnail is what you have for sale if you're using actual photos. Okay? Yeah, a lot of people do that, mama, but it really is, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to bring people into your show by having, a more effective marketing tool with that thumbnail, because really all you have.
And use videos.
Yes, you can use videos. Oh, there's another raid. Creative Treasures, thank you for the raid, appreciate that. Let me pull Creative Treasures up. So your thumbnail and your title are really all you have to get people at those last minute who's on. That's all you have. And if your thumbnail is not selling your show, you're missing out. So make sure those thumbnails and titles are on point with what you're doing. And that is, that number 2, branding. What are you doing to bring people in the store? They've got to see that fancy sign and that fancy title.
Doesn't have to be fancy.
Or whatever. Well, they've got to see something that makes them want to come. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's kind of where that is. So watch the free space for text that doesn't get covered up. Yes, that's true. So, make sure it fits, make sure all your text is visible. And here is Creative Treasures. Thank you so much for the raid. Everyone give them a follow, and please bookmark their next show, which is on the 13th. Okay. I like what House of Coop has been doing lately. When someone wants to promote or raids, they tell everybody, please tell us when your next show is, and then follow 5 or 10 people in chat and network with each other, because really that's how we network. So we see someone come and raid, and not everybody's going to follow when you raid, but they notice it and they're like, oh, who's that? What do they sell? You're going to get some lookies. So make sure that you take advantage of those opportunities to network with each other in other shows. Let's see, what else do I want to say about that? Just community. Community is everything on, this platform. And we just got a winner for this bookmark.
Red bite.
Red Bite. Congrats. You get this cute whatnot bookmark that is coming to you. All right. I've kind of covered everything that we kind of brainstormed that we wanted to share, except I was going to share this. What were we going to say about this?
Well, here's an example
Oh,
of something we sell.
okay. So
And
here's some
you
fabric.
could take this fabric and we could use every approach we talked about with this fabric.
Okay, so you guys recognize, right? What this, well, those of you who know fabric, what is this fabric?
Let's
What's
see.
special, unique
Who's the
about this
first to
fabric?
answer? JW.
Yeah, it's Jay Wecker. So it's a cool brand, right? Not everybody loves it, but most people think it's pretty cool. But how can you use this piece of fabric with every strategy? So, strategy number one, it's a cool piece of fabric. You can price it in a way that it brings people in. You advertise, I'm going to be selling, some Jay Weckerfish pieces at
the lowest prices of
lowest
the
price
year.
of the year or whatever.
Lowest starts of the year.
Yeah. So it could be a pricing strategy used with that piece of fabric. Number two, branding. It's a brand, it's a known brand that people love that they want to see.
Jay
Okay.
Weckerfish and other unique and interesting fabrics in this show.
Right. So you're going to use that, and you may even have a curated show where you have a ton of that.
And your thumbnail will show different, unique, and creative fabrics.
Right. So you're going to want to really pump that you've got some Jay Wecker, but don't put Jay Wecker on your thumbnail and advertise it if you only have one piece.
Yeah, right.
So so maybe you say, this and other unique and interesting or whatever. So yeah. So you've got to have some more about it. And then how can you use that piece of fabric in this category in niche or specialty? Maybe that's the type of fabric you specialize in, unique and different types of fabric. Or
maybe
you're
you
using that strategy for that show.
You can junk journalists love
Right.
it.
You appeal to, the crafting crowd or the crowd that likes the really unique special fabrics, right? And then how can you use it in the entertainment or experience category?
You make it part of like a Halloween show, or you make it and you play it up. We've done things like that. You do a Jay Wicker Frisch show and introduce other fabrics that are funky and
Similar. Yeah. Or you point out some of the really unique things. Maybe you feature the artist and talk about the artist and some of the things they've done and show some of their past designs.
So
There's all
right.
kinds of things that you could come up with to use all the different types of strategies,
right,
just based on one type of thing.
Right. So the point is,
Whoops. I just rang Bert's bell. Oh, we just got another raid.
Oh.
Heather, thank you for the raid.
The point is when a lot of people, when they start doing whatnot, they think, oh, how am I going to sell this fabric for $1 start? I'm going to lose money if I start this at $1 start. Well, that's not the only way to think. There's so many different approaches that you can use. Think of what works for you. Think of how you can curate your show or stage your show, or you should have, I'm going to start here. Please have an idea of how it, and write it down. I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. And now you do need to be flexible, and maybe you have to jump down here, but have your show staged, curated, have it match the thumbnails you created for that show, have it promoted through your previous shows.
Right.
And
yeah, there's just a lot of, and I know it seems like a lot of work.
And it is.
And it is. And that's, one of the things about reselling, it's not for the weak. All right. Heather just rated us. I want to share her profile. So Heather M418 is Heather, and she's a Disney specialist, and she sells beads, pens, and keychains. She has beautiful thumbnails. Make sure you give her a follow, and let's bookmark
I just have
her
beautiful
upcoming
nails.
shows. Her next show is on the 15th at 9:17. Thank you so much, Heather, for the rate. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, so a lot of things that you can think about, in the stuff that we've talked about tonight. Here's this list again if you want a screenshot. And remember the 4 different strategies that we talked about. And then make sure you take a screenshot of the 5 F's that are pinned. Is it pinned on the screen? Let's see, let me find it. Let me get it pinned again. So, and pin. Okay, there it is, pinned. So make sure you get a screenshot of that. If you haven't already, just click the picture, click it in again so it fills your screen, and take a screenshot of that so that you have it to refer to.
All right.
Let's talk really briefly about, I wanted to talk about with the increase of people coming on the platform. You're so welcome, Julia. With the so many more
Or
people coming onto the platform, because Whatnot is really advertising, promoting, doing all the things they're doing, it is going to bring a lot of new people as buyers, and it has been. I don't those of you that have been having shows that are more seasoned sellers, what percentage of your buyers in any given show have been new? Just throw a few numbers out there and tell me. I'm curious.
some of ours have been as much as 50%.
40 to 50%. Yep, same. That's huge. But in addition to those people coming in as new buyers, we're also going to get an influx of new sellers as well. So in Lovely Pinto's show the other day, 12 out of her 16 buyers were new to her. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. So, yeah. But you're also going to get a lot of new sellers. So there is going to be more competition. So you really do need to be focused on what do I need to do differently with all of this information that I'm sharing to really ramp it up so that I can make sure that I'm staying relevant, that I'm staying, on top of trends, on top of what's happening, on top of what people want. I'm adding value to what I share and show so that people can, get the vision. That's another thing I talk about, vision. If you can show something ordinary and paint the picture of what you can use this for, how you can use it, how you can wear it, how you can style it, where you can put it, who you can gift it to, what is the value of this thing you're showing? You know, if you can make something ordinary and add the value to that item, you're going to be able to sell it so much better than just here's this piece of fabric, or here's this jar, or here's this whatever. And if you missed my little so I was talking about scraps, if you missed that. So this is looks like a jar of candy, right? These are 5-inch squares. These are charm 5-inch squares made to look like candy, and they were the leftovers of a 5-inch square charm pack. So I've been taking scraps of fabric and making things out of them to make them more appealing, more adding value to that item. Christine is a master of this. I could show you some of those super cute things that Christine has made doing that same idea. Last Christmas, she did little cupcakes that were made out of a fat quarter, and they were displayed in a cupcake box. And she could put cute little pins,
And
like
Dana
little
bought it.
sprinkles. I love it. It's on my shelf. It's so cute. She takes vintage handkerchiefs and makes little intricate dresses out of them on a little sweet hanger, and it's hanging in my sewing room. I love it. So you add value to something, that you make something more ordinary into something extraordinary. You show it, you either make it and sell it, or you show them how to make it and they can buy the stuff to make it themselves. All those things. And that can correlate over to any kind of product. You style it, you tell how it can be used, you show how it can be used, you add the value, you show what it can be. So that's kind of our spiel. Let me make sure we didn't miss any questions. um Let's see. Any sneak preview of this month's exciting news? Yes, stay home. I don't have anything I can visually show you, but here's a couple of things I can talk about because it's sort of in the works, and is out there a little bit. The packing slips have been greatly improved, and it's going to be a lot easier to print and not have as many pages, and you're going to be able to see um, more information on your packing slips. It's going to be a much better experience for sellers.
We know.
That's one of the things coming down the pike. um, AI is imminent. I don't know if that's going to be announced soon, but you're going to be able to take pictures, choose a category, and generate a listing. Boom. It will be amazing. So that's huge. I don't know if that's next month, but yeah.
Did Whatnot do the show in Vegas yet?
Oh, they're going to be at the big ASD Expo in Las Vegas. If anyone wants to go to that, they're going to have a booth. We're maybe going to go. It's in March.
Mhm.
I can't remember. I'd have to look the date up. Do you think doing a one cost shipping like 921, no matter how much the customer buys, is a good way for beginning sellers? Do you lose money? So Modern Stitches, um, people want reduced shipping. Period. It does make a huge difference. However, right now, new sellers are not able to put that setting on there. If you signed up to sell long enough ago that you have that, then you're lucky, because most new sellers are not able to offer reduced shipping right now because it became a nightmare for Whatnot, because too many new sellers were coming on, didn't figure out how to ship, and created too many customer service nightmares. So they took it away for new sellers. They don't really have a set explanation of when new sellers will get that setting back. Um, so I don't know. But yes, it really does make a difference if you can afford to do it. So you have to look at what you sell, and let me just guide you for that in that direction for a little bit with this. Um, so this document that I just pinned on your screen, choosing basic shipping settings, goes over how to decide what shipping settings are going to work for you based on what you sell. So take a screenshot of that one on your screen, and then go to my YouTube channel, which is in the show notes, and watch my videos that are titled "Don't Sync Your Shipping." And it will help guide you about how to set your shipping settings based on what you sell. So anytime you listen to shipping advice from anyone besides just the generic looking at the information of how to set it up on Whatnot, make sure that the advice you're taking is coming from someone who A, sells similar items to what you sell, and B, is a newer seller and not someone who has millions of sales and sells everything at the same weight and offers free or reduced shipping, because that's a whole different thing.
Click on the bin item. She said you did that too fast for a screenshot. She misunderstood.
Yeah, just click on your screen. So you don't have to click it on mine. So on your screen, I have this item pinned. Just click the picture with your finger, click it again, make it big, and then take your own screenshot on your own device. Yeah. Okay. That's what I mean by take a screenshot. Because it would be too blurry even if you did take a screenshot when I was holding it up. All right. Let's see. Did I miss any other? Okay, so let me tell you a couple other things about shipping that have come up recently. Um, Vintage Chick reminded me of this the other day. So when you generate a label to send something, if you realize when you've generated that label that it's not going to work, you can go back into that order, click the little pencil, and change something about it, like the weight or the dimensions, or turn flat rate off or turn it on, or whatever it is you want to change. And then save it, and it will ask you if you want to regenerate a new label, and you can do that. So it's not a once you've printed the label, no going back. You can regenerate it. It cancels the first one and regenerates a new one. So make sure you understand that you can do that. It may cost you one of your exceptions or cost you money depending on what the change is. Just know that. Can you split it into two packages? Yes. So you click on the order and it brings up the pop-up menu of their items. And there's a button you can click that says unbundle. And you click that, and then it has little check boxes to all the items that they bought. You check the ones that you want to separate out and then click unbundle, and it will then create a second order in your orders for that same person, and it will show it at the top of your orders. So it will, and then it will leave in that order the ones that you didn't check mark. Okay. So yes, you can unbundle and put it into two. So if they bought so much that it's not going to fit in one, like you want to do it in flat rate and it needs two boxes, just click the order, hit the unbundle, click the little boxes of the ones you want to put in a different box, click unbundle, and it separates them into two separate orders. Okay. You can also combine. So if Whatnot system automatically unbundled them, be careful about this though, because if it automatically unbundled them, it means it charged them probably extra shipping.
Anita Cox.
Oh, thank you for the raid, Anita. But you can also combine orders. So if it bundled them, or if it unbundled them and you want to bundle them, you can do that too. Same way, you just click the two orders and it pops up with bundle and you say yes. All right, so let me pull up Anita.
Turns out that Anita Cox's real name is Anita Cox.
Let's see. I wish there was an easy way to switch from ship to local pickup. I have a local buyer that never chooses local and then wants to drop by for it. Yeah, you just need to be blunt with them and say you either have it turned on or you don't, because you're going to have to fulfill it, through the order system. So just kind
Thanks.
of, yeah, just be blunt with them and say, you got to either pick it up.
And
So here's Anita. Thank you so much for the raid. And Anita has a show scheduled on the 18th and the 25th, and she sells in scrapbooking and junk journaling. Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. And I'm already following you. So awesome. Thanks so much for the raid. Yeah, I know that's annoying. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that. Just, I mean, if they have it turned on once, then it should be that way for the next show. So they actually are having to go in and change it on their end if it keeps flipping back, because once they've turned it on, it usually doesn't turn it back off unless they physically go in and turn it back off. So that's really annoying. Yeah. Well, thank you, Anita. We're having a seller chat. So, giving everybody advice. So about how to sell and whatnot. All right. So any last things people want to talk about? Just reminding you of the 4 strategies that you can use to try and improve, your shows and getting people in the show and getting them to stay. Really work on those thumbnails and titles too, because we talked about all these things, but if you can't even get people to come in there, maybe it's as simple as your thumbnails and your titles are not on point. Oh, here's another point I need to bring up. Please, please make sure that your shows are scheduled in the right category. I see a lot of new sellers scheduling their shows in community and what's that other one? Everything else. Nobody's going to find your shows in those categories necessarily. And if they do, they're not necessarily going to be buyers. I don't know. Is anyone having success with that? I see that and I'm just like I'm confused about that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because the way the algorithms work, it shows people when they go into the app, it shows you the shows you've bookmarked and the people you follow. But then, other than that, it shows you categories you follow. Who follows everything else in community? Not very many people. So make sure that you have your category on your show on point for what you're selling. But at the same time, you can use that as a strategy by having a crossover category and then having stuff in your show listed under a different category, and it will get both viewerships.
Mm.
Okay. So, yeah, there is a lot of competition in some categories. I agree, but I just don't feel like they're doing themselves any justice by having, by being in a category that so few people are going to even see. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, he's been sick all week. So it probably is time for him to go to bed. Does it cost more to list in multiple categories? Well, right now you can't technically list in multiple categories. So there's no way to do that. The only really way to maybe get some exposure in multiple categories is to promote, because then the app, the way that their promote works, they will sometimes bring in, people from other categories. But that's mixed about how well that will work for you. Um, but you can list in one category and then have items for sale in your shows that are a different category, because maybe your category is, let's say your category is vintage decor, but you've got items in your store, in your auction or your buy it now, that are books. List them as books, because then people could come in that also are looking for books. Does that make sense? So make sure that when you list something specific, it is in. So don't list that book as vintage decor. List it as a book for 2 reasons. One, it's a crossover category, but 2, if it's a book and they only buy that one item, they actually get media rate shipping. So that's another reason. But, so always list things in the category specific to that item, but have the category make sense for the overall genre of your show. Because that's what drives who sees your shows, because everything is, the algorithms are based on what categories people follow and what categories it knows you like to shop in. And so if you're not being seen in that category, then you're getting hurt by not being seen. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. Let me know if there's anything else anyone wants. Please bookmark our upcoming shows.
Yes, very important announcement. Next month's community seller help and chat, our halftime entertainment by Bad Bunny.
No. Okay. So every Tuesday and Thursday mornings,
Thanks.
I do, yeah, Bev Bills, boo. Every Tuesday and Thursday morning, I'm on my treadmill. I do a walk and talk seller chat. So if you have questions, jump in. I'm there. It's kind of a laid back, casual seller chat show. I came up with the idea. I don't know if it's a great idea or not, but that I'm going to be on my treadmill and I would be on Whatnot shopping anyway or watching other people's shows. So I'm like, instead, I'm just going to get on and chat and help people. And so that's what I do. So if you have questions,
I,
want to talk about something, I'm on every Tuesday and Thursday on here just chatting. So you could come in and just ask questions. And it's this show right there tomorrow morning. I will be on the treadmill and I don't show my face because you don't want to see my morning face, but
I'll be at the gym.
and Bert will be at the gym, not on Whatnot. So yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Hope you got some value out of what we shared tonight. And yeah, if you need help, come back. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And Whatnot has changed our lives. It can change yours too. So let's go find someone to raid. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let me go see who's live that we can raid into. Stick around for just a second so we can give someone a nice little boost, be part of the community. Let's go raid into we're in the under the fabric category for this show, so we'll go raid into a fabric show. Let's see. How about um wow, there's quite a few on. So how about I'm trying to pick someone I haven't rated in a while. Let's go rate It's Jen. She's doing vintage quilt blocks, panels, and linens. So It's Jen is where we're headed. Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate you. You are awesome.
Bye. Ciao. Ella.
And we're going to go raid into It's Jen. If I can get her name to come up here, it's thank you. Thank you. All right, here we go. Bye for now. Make it a great day. Make it a great time